Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a real treat tonight because we are here live on Sportswire Radio. And we haven't got a chance to have him on here in almost nearly a year, but we've got him on for good reasons. Because look at what you're seeing, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time in nearly 2 years, someone else without that WCE All Out Championship, which was synonymous with somebody that was called the ruler of the yard, the backyard nightmare. He even had somebody that was considering himself to be a vendetta with him. But forget about all of that because our man is on top. And some would even say he is on top of the Midwest wrestling scene right now. He is going to talk about all of this. And this was a personal journey. It was as personal of a match as we've seen yet on Sportswire Radio to cover. He's going to talk about it here and some. They call him the picture of perfection. But what they most importantly call him now is our brand new reigning, defending WCE All-Out champion. Our guest needs no further introduction, but because he is a champion and many of his peers have gotten that same introduction and he hasn't been on here in a year, he has to get that championship-like introduction.
Let me hear it, Tom.
Without further ado here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, the reigning, defending WCE All-Out champion. They call him the picture of perfection. Kodak The champ is here.
Hey, Tom, how's it going? Can you hear me good?
I hear you great, and I am so excited to have you that I think my mic got cut off for 10 seconds. It
just
is
for a
obvious. Bit. Yep, just for a few seconds. But I'll tell you what, we're going to have a lot to talk about here in a second, and congratulations is in order. But
thank you
I want to start the show out. Yep, we're going to talk about that. But I want to start the show out, champ, with something important. And I want to give my condolences to somebody that really touched a lot of people, not only in the WCE community, but in the Wisconsin backyard community. And that was none other than the legendary great Tim Mecca, who we sadly lost a little over a week ago. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, the picture of perfection, Kodak Kid, I know this hits you harder than maybe anybody else. And you have to talk about Tim Mecca and what he meant to you.
Okay, so Tim Mecca, oh man, it was such a shocker. I remember the day it happened, Nicholas
Prenton posted on Facebook. I think James Marshall shared it.
He messaged me directly, Nicholas Crenson did, and because like me and him and James for sure, they all go back to Tim. They wrestled with Tim quite a bit. I met Tim through my older brother Dan.
Yep.
He was in a tag team with Tim called Black and Blue.
We spoke about that, I think, in the past on the Sportswire.
Yeah. I've mentioned it. It's definitely like you're talking backyard wrestling. You got to talk Black and Blue. You got to talk Tim Mecca. Then my brother Dan ended up taking a leave of absence, and I didn't see him for a while. And then later in time, I wrestled with him in Oshkosh, Wisconsin at this fair. It was called Sawdust Days. And from that point on, I joined that company. And you know, because of Dan, like a lot of the wrestlers just didn't think I belonged there. And Tim wasn't one of those guys. Tim Tim was always taking me aside and showing me bumps and different things, and he was always front row at the matches, that I'd have with there was another wrestler. His name was Mad Cow. His name was Eric Schwartz. I wrestled with his younger brother, who was my good friend Travis. Anyway, Tim was just such a really good dude. He was a great wrestler, and I know he had some mishappenings in his life that just didn't work out for him. But he was a great dude. He loved wrestling. He was obsessed with Bret Hart. I remember going in his basement one time with Dan, and he had this massive collection of action figures, and a lot of them were Bret Hart. Like, he just loved Bret Hart. So, like, my condolences go out to Eric and his family, and just hope the best for him.
If I could for a second, I know people are tuning in, and please hang on for a second. If I could, we spoke about this off the air. I'd like to have a moment of silence for Tim Mecca. So for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire, please, let's just have a few moments of silence for the late, great Tim Mecca. And we certainly want to extend our prayers to everybody out there in the Wisconsin backyard wrestling community, in the Midwest, and obviously in WCE. And, this isn't easy. And I know that I would expect when season 4 kicks off next year, I would have to think at the top of the list for everybody would be a moment of silence and those, unfortunately, 10-bell salute for Tim Mecca. I would have to think that that's the first thing we have to do next season. I know we're going to obviously talk about the championship, but we got to do that 10-bell salute, because
for sure,
I mean, this is really, this is really tough.
It's heavy stuff, man. It's heavy stuff.
I've
so close to home. It's just,
and it's close to us because, we've covered a lot of WC. I know obviously we haven't done a lot of WC the last few months until recently, till Jovi and Craven came back, and sort of what a shocking appearance that was before the IMF Winter Class show. We'll definitely get into that. But I think that if you've been a fan of Sportswire, you know that WC has been a place that we have covered for a long time. And we've had so many people that Tim Mecca has touched. And that's why this is tough. I've been doing this 5 years. We certainly went through a worldwide pandemic. I was on the air when Kobe Bryant died. I mean, they've had some things that have been tough. But Tim Mecca, this one hits home. Yeah. This hits home. This is, and I don't, really, it's really tough. And I it sucks.
Yeah, funny little tidbit. So Tim Mecca ended up starting wrestling with Dan in the backyard of in Appleton, Wisconsin, at this house. The wrestler's name was Snake Eyes. I can't remember his actual name, but anyway.
Yeah, Snake Eyes though.
Yeah. And then he started with Hornswoggle in that backyard, like way before Hornswoggle. Like, this was, if you go on YouTube and you type in FVWA Wisconsin wrestling or something along that line, you can find all these videos, and you could see Tim in there, and Hornswoggle's name was like Hardcore Wonder or something at the time. But his real name, for whatever reason,
Hardcore popped up on my Instagram the other day, and his son is like 3 times the size of him. I know that's not saying much, but he literally is like this.
Yeah.
His son's like this now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. But Tim, I would imagine there'll be a lot of outpouring tributes and such. And I know on Sportswire, now that the season is over in WC, we will bring some guys back on. We had Crenson on a couple of weeks ago, I think literally maybe a couple of days right before the news of Tim Mecca passing. So I would imagine some of the guys that knew him, like Jovi and Crenson and Marshall. And if anybody does want to at some point, we would even want to do a show here and talk about Tim Mecca. Absolutely, for sure. And again, I just want to extend my condolences to everybody impacted, whether it's in the Wisconsin backyard wrestling scene, in the Midwest backyard wrestling community, obviously the WC family. And this is really, it's a tough one. It's really, we've had a lot of shows recently on Sportswire, but I really wanted to save that moment for here. And it's just, it's a young man's life is gone. A young man that still was in the prime of his life. A young man that could have contributed so much, and especially when we see guys like Nicholas Crenson, the resident rock star Sean Jovi, going out and traveling now and wrestling in places outside of Wisconsin. That's why it's heartbreaking, because we'll never know. We'll never know. Could Tim Mecca have made a comeback? Obviously, his brother Eric, wink, wink, we saw in WCE. I mean, we never know what those possibilities could have been. And seeing maybe if Tim Mecca had one more run left in him, and that's what's terrible. We're never going to know. And that's why I wanted to at least spend a few minutes. I promise I will get to comments. I promise I will obviously plug all things WC. But again, we'll come back to Tim Mecca. And I just, again, want to send my absolute condolences and prayers here. But obviously, let's come back to the current, because we could talk all day about the Sea of Sorrow. We have to move forward because Tim Mecca, and I think everybody else will want us to move forward on Sportswire, because we are Sportswire Radio. And Kodak Kid, I mean, you have come back. You have come back with a bang. You said this was personal. You said Craven Rage. You didn't think he was going to walk out of Fight or Fright 3 without that championship. You proved everybody wrong. And I have to tell you, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, I have to ask the question that a lot of people are wanting to know, because this is your first words since you won that all-out championship after Craven Rage held it for more than a year and a half. What does it mean to you now to be the WCE all-out champion?
Oh man, you pinpointed it before, you know, with the year that got taken away from me by Craven Rage.
I mean, it was
and
just you were going to come back in the ring again. You know, it was really tough with you.
It was very wishy-washy in the fact, and then I get back and there's this no contact rule. And I mean, I got offered, I wrestled the Yards Collide show, and I got offered other matches, but none of them were Craven. Finally, Fight or Fright came, and I made Tyler Uck tap out, and being the champion at that point in time was like nothing. I could care less about it. I wanted to take away what Craven Rage took away from me, and that was everything.
Almost a year. You were out of action for almost a year.
So, and what was everything to Craven Rage? And you know, it was the WC All Out.
I had him on here so many times since you came on, and he talked about being the greatest. He talked about being the Backyard Nightmare, the ruler of the yard. They even changed the title from the Universal Wisconsinite title to the All Out title. And he said this person and that person he wanted, and nobody could touch him. And I mean, he was running through people up and down, and now we don't see him that way anymore. And I think that you took something from him that he certainly valued.
So, okay, so I need to just back up a bit here. Don't get me wrong, Craven Rage is still every one of those things. When I walked into the match, I knew I had something standing in front of me. Something that was real, something, you know, not somebody who's just talking. This man held a title for 547 days.
Oh, absolutely. He ran JDT. He ran him out of town. I mean, JDT. I mean, he's on a milk carton right now. I mean, I think JDT's in witness protection right now. I mean, he basically was like, you know what? I can't deal with this guy. I can't beat him. So I left.
Going into it, I had a year to plan. I watched and watched and watched and watched and watched, and I knew. And then when I walked in there, I thought, you know, I have everything. There's nothing he can throw at me that I wasn't expecting. And very, very early on, I realized that no matter how much you plan for Craven Rage, you get in the ring and it's a whole different monster. It's an entirely different.
He's even got a vendetta with him now.
Yeah, he has vendetta, and this man just beat the living ever hell out of me. I know your family show, and I'm sorry about that.
How about the
curse? But
no, it's okay. But how about even the spot? I thought he was going to kill you when you had the garbage can over your head, and he was trying to jump on with the table.
He was going to jump on me. He gets off. Yes. He beat me through that table. This man
broke. Yep, he just
beat me through the table. Like he just lost it. And it just, he beat me with a crutch, a belt, a cane, a kendo stick. He hit me in the nuts with a crutch.
Yep.
This man, it became very apparent to me that this man is going to do anything to be champion. So I had to do that as well. And I have nothing but respect for him. And in being the champion after what I went through with him means everything to me. It really does. Cause like before the match, I could care less about the title, but this man made this title something that every person
Oh,
wanted,
listen,
and I
people,
finally get to hold it.
Listen, there were people that he was challenging and wanted that title in different places around the Midwest and elsewhere. I mean, we have had obviously people from different states and proclaim that they want Craven Rage. They wanted to go after him and prove their worth and prove that they were the best. And he was this guy that was this backyard nightmare, this ruler of the yard. And again, he was the guy that put WC on the map. He was the guy that took WC to all these heights. Where we see WC now in places like Invading in Iowa in a live indoor show with 200 people. And, you know, we see the different things that have happened. So I want to get to some comments here. I want to say a little to people. I am definitely going to be talking a lot about this person here in a little while. That is our interstate openweight champion, of course, from the foundation, the resident rock star, Sean Jovi, who gives you the Kodak Kid and the exclamation points. I want to say hello to my guest tomorrow night, Steven Silvestri. He's a referee with our friend over in Resurrection Wrestling. We're going to be talking with him 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking all things related to his career as a referee. We're going to be talking about all things related to Resurrection Wrestling. They've got their own show coming up on January the 27th called Lockdown, and every match is going to be in a steel cage. He's going to be refereeing some of those matches, and I'm going to get his side of the story on that. You can follow Resurrection Pro Wrestling on YouTube, Instagram. That is going to be an interview you will not want to miss, because when you hear from a referee side of the story, it's going to be a different side of the story than we get from Kodak Kid or Craven Rage or even our most recent guest from Resurrection Wrestling, Mr. D'Angelo the Flame, the internet champion there. So a lot to talk about here with Steven Silvestri. We're going to do that here tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on Sportswire Radio, YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579, our brand new website, sportswireradio.org. Also, Twitter at Thomas Price 2017. So be there or be square with Steven Silvestri. Looking forward to that. I want to say hello to Adonis Filios, the Drip King. Evening, Tom. What up, new champ? Hashtag Rip Tim Mecca forever. And Tim Mecca, he meant so much to so many people.
Yeah.
My condolences too. The family of Tim Mecca, especially Eric, and so many people he helped train, James Marshall, Nicholas Crenson, certainly Sean Jovi, the resident rockstar. I think Dark Fire had a relationship with him. There's a lot of guys, and we're going to touch upon that. And I have no doubt management will do the right thing to start the season next year in April with that 10-bell salute. But let's come back to this championship here. Let's come back to the moment. You know, you're in that match. Or let's talk about it. And there was a couple of times, yep, you damn straight, and it looked like we're getting that 1, 2, and it was like you kicked out, and the announcers were like, I can't believe it. Kodak Kid kicks out, to the point that you made Craven Rage tap out. I think everybody it was almost like The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 29. It was almost like, did that just happen? Did that really just happen? I have to ask you, in terms of, like, how were you able to get that strength, that intestinal fortitude, to be able to hang in there after all that punishment that Craven put you to kick out, and then eventually get to that point where you actually made Craven Rage tap out and take that championship from him?
My intentions in the beginning was not to make him tap out. I just knew I didn't want him walking out of there. But I adapted that Dragon Sleeper during my time off, and it seemed to work well for me. And Craven Rage, I knew if I could get him in it, then that was it. That was the plan. But the problem is he just came at me with so much stuff. Like it was very hard to the kicking out thing. I think
there's two times you kicked out, and it was like everybody was like, "What?"
Yeah. There, he hit me with the Eye of Craven,
Yep.
I kicked out the second eye of Craven. I don't remember
He
kicking
hit
out.
you with the same finisher twice, and it was almost like,
Yeah. I don't remember kicking. That was instinct. That was just my heart and everything I
you
had
were
in
on
me. But
pure adrenaline then at that moment.
and then the actual making him tap out, if you watch it back, you can't really tell, but I'm putting I'm wrenching it so hard
Because
that
everybody was waiting, and the announcers did a great job in this. Everybody was waiting almost as you had him in that hold, and you locked in it. I think it was at least about a minute or so. You had that hold.
yeah, he gave a lot. He gave it
Yeah,
some
everybody. I think we were all kind of wondering, watching that. Okay, is Craven Rage going to do his, rule of the yard, backyard nightmare stuff, and find a way to like inch toward the ropes? Break the hold, and then we see Vendetta or something crazy would happen with Packer, and then he finds a way, and we'd be probably not talking about you right now because we're all kind of waiting for that moment there, and yet it was kind of like maybe it wasn't symbolic, but it was just like you saw him go like this.
I trapped him.
Yeah.
I was expecting more from Vendetta, but I'm glad that didn't happen. But if you watch it back, the last like wrench of the sleeper right before he taps, I end up like I almost pass out.
Because there was a moment. I don't know if your eyes closed or not, but it was a moment you kind of like clenched back as I'm trying to mimic when you put him in that hold, that one more hold.
Yeah.
It was almost like you went like this almost.
It was like I was gassed out, but and I don't remember the tapping part. I just remember Mark Packer slapping me in the face and he put the title on my my chest.
That was almost like, what that reminded me of? It was like Rocky 2 almost, like when Rocky and Apollo Creed were trying to figure out to get up and who would get up. It almost had that kind of moment there. I have to ask you then, since you don't remember what happened. I mean, you've gone back and watched the match, obviously, since then. And, what have you thought, champ, since you've gone back and watched it, now that you've been able to digest this moment and now that you claim that championship?
It when I watched it back, it packed a punch. Each especially when he like I cannot express to you how hard this man beat me with just anything. He had a trash can of just all these different.
Thought, you know what, and I think the announcers, as we're talking here with the WC All Out champion Kodak Kid, my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio. I literally thought, I know you were out for almost a year. I know you were out for almost, and we had you on a couple of times during the rehab where the doctors were going to let you return to the ring. But I literally thought when you had the, your head under the garbage can, half of your body was in it. I really thought we were going to be talking about you, and for another year injury, I thought I'd be getting you next time in a neck brace, and they'd say you can't wrestle again, and it's permanently, and permanent damage, and you'd be on, to quote Aerosmith, on a permanent vacation.
Yeah. I was just bracing. I couldn't move because I was just, he just got done beating the hell out of me. So now I'm just sitting there.
I'm surprised you didn't have a concussion or anything like that. I'm surprised,
Then he just started beating. He came down. He just started beating me.
But he's
a vicious man.
Tell me your thoughts on this, champ, and I'll get to comments in a second. But he seemed more frustrated as the match. Craven, we never see him frustrated. We always see him methodical. There's always something up his sleeve. But I felt, in a way, the longer you hung in there and took that punishment, as crazy as this sounds, that he was getting frustrated and he was kind of losing his grip. And maybe inside of him, for the first time, there was a bit of a doubt that he was going to walk away and continue his run as the Backyard Nightmare.
Yes. I can't really speak about what was going through his mind. But I there is a one point in the match to where I did feel that is I kicked him in the face.
Yes.
Right before I kicked him, it's like he was wearing the mask, but it's almost like I could see
it was like that
past the mask, deep inside, and you could see you could see like just a defense to like a mental defense of like he was running on empty at this point.
Well, I think the longer the match, you could argue. Also, think about this: he had a match with Marshall
the day before.
Do you think that because his match went longer than yours, that maybe that also helped you a little bit? Because again, Marshall and him, that was one of the longer matches I think in company history, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can quote me on that, but I mean,
James
how
Marshall
much did he have left?
Just really quick, I have to say James Marshall and Craven Rage had one of the best matches in WC probably ever. Like that, when I was there. I watched that match
because we said that about
the winner. I got the winner.
So and and that's saying something because we talked about Marshall and Jovi in the summer is the best match. So think about that for a second.
To me, Craven and James Marshall will be one of the best matches ever in the history of WC. They just went out there and they just stole that show. Like, I wanted to give people something to remember, but they just went out there and they just did it, and they didn't really need a story, but it was a great match. But yes, it definitely it had to have helped. They went probably 35 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it was over a half an hour. I mean, it was no question that take away the entrances,
and then well Craven wins. He retreats back to under the ring. Maybe I don't know wherever he would retreat to, the Backyard Nightmare. But he'd retreat, sleep for a few hours, come and then wrestle me. Still says a lot about the guy.
It's an interesting point that you made because sometimes we do a lot of sports here in Sportzwire. We just had a soccer coach come on and we were talking about because they were in the playoffs and kind of was like the playoffs for Craven. And I was speaking with the coach Jason Facina, by the way, the head coach of the Five-Town Southern men's soccer team, and those guys wound up. They lost a heartbreaking playoff game. They had a lead, and they wound up having to play the next day. And I'd asked Coach, the guys, what does that mean for the guys? Because the guys had lost a heartbreaking game. And he had said, well, we were gassed. Guys really, I'll be honest with you, now I can say because it's been over a month, we had nothing left. Point is that Craven did everything he could to keep that championship in his possession. So by the time you faced him, in a way, he had nothing left in the fact that, again, what you were able to do and hang in there as long as you could, psychologically, it might have dwelled on him and he might not have had much left. And that just maybe gave you that opening to get in that Dragon Sleeper and put him away and finally break the run of the Backyard Nightmare as the WC All-Out Champion.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I do think that because you look back on a lot of his matches and people just they don't kick out.
I've had guys, Adonis Velios, I almost had him. Prince Charles, I almost had him. All these guys almost had him, but the whole same thing? The similar trait, they couldn't finish him.
And then you go back to Beat the Heat of 2022, was it? 21, 22? And then Vindication. I literally almost had him. We had it here. Listen,
a lot of people thought, and we said this here with you, you were the guy that really gave him the run for his money as champion. You were the guy that was right there. You had him, and he had to resort to those tactics to keep that title. And it was felt in a lot of ways that he personally saw you as a threat. And that's why he put you out of action. And then on top of that, we saw the decision made by Packer where you guys couldn't physically touch each other for as long as you guys basically couldn't until, we saw what happened at Fight or Fright Part 3.
Yeah. Oh, man. When I got back, like I said, I don't know. There was a few different instances to where you can see the conversations between me and Mark Packer. But there was so many more. And it was just always the same thing over and over. And I never really got a legitimate reason on why. It's like he would tell me it's not the time. It's like, what do you mean? It's been a year. It was so frustrating. That's why when he gave me that triple threat match, I believe it was against Tyler Ark and Killer Wolf.
Drake's Killer Wolf.
Or Drake's, yeah.
Drake Silver Wolf, Killer Wolf, Wolfpack Hour. It doesn't make a
It was
difference.
a wolf, yeah. Uh, and then watching, I I just wished I nothing against James Marshall. I think he's great, and I think what he does in the ring is second to
Sure.
none.
He's
But
considered to be the measuring stick in
but
WC. Sure.
I needed Craven to win that match. I needed to take away what was everything to him. And so it was kind of a weird situation sitting there. I sat front row, watched the match. I get the winner, and I'm cheering for Craven in a way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Which is weird because he's the man that took you out and put you out of action for as long as he did. Kind of bizarre.
It's just like, oh, just wait. If you win, just you wait. Kind of such. Oh, it was such a weird dynamic.
Weird. It's weird because it's kind of like in sports. We've had people on here and they say, I would ask them, well, would you want that team or you want to avoid somebody else? And they would say, no, I want to bring them on heads on. And that's what happened here. Let me say a few things here first to people. Sean Joby says, just a heads up, Winter Clash uploading has begun. By the way, congratulations to everybody involved. I know Omen Black sent me his match. I only got a chance to watch some because unfortunately we had a couple of different things here outside of Sportswire to attend to, but I'm going to watch the rest of that match after we get off the air here. And everybody, please go to Sean Joby's vlog. Also, want to support the Sean Joby Discord chat. There's a brand new chat out there. Please make sure you do that here in the link below. Please support the Resident Rock for everything he's doing for our beloved backyard wrestling community, or the wrestling community as a whole. Go out there and support that. WCE is on social media on a whole number of platforms here, and we want to make sure we support that on YouTube, where you can watch Fight or Fright Chapter 3 with Craven Rage and Kodak Kid at WC Heat on Facebook, WCHeat.com for all information on your favorite superstars and the season ahead coming up here in April. So make sure you support that. Also, I want to say hello to Steven Silvestri, my guest tomorrow night, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. He congratulates you on the win all the way from Tennessee. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio. If you are on Sportswire Radio again, check us out anytime. We're on YouTube and a number of different ways to catch us. But first of all, most importantly, we're at Sportswire Radio 6579 backspace streams. We have WCE coverage coming out all throughout the season. So if you're bored, you need your WCE fix, your WCE news, your wrestling fixes, Sportswire Radio has you covered. If you want to watch past, present, and future shows here on this channel, you can do that. Also, you want to support us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can get all of our content here on sportswireradio.org, and you can also check us out here if you have a podcast, if you have live music you want to listen to or a program for us. I am the station manager. I own the company. I own everything related to Sportswire Radio. So if you want to get involved, you want to hear yourself on a worldwide internet radio station for free of charge, I handle all those things. So get in touch with me through there. Yes, you can definitely through the whistling. You can do that as well. Also, if you also might want to turn that whistling off, I know you're excited about Kodak coming on to Sportswire, but check us out on Tumblr as well. Tumblr at Sportswire Radio, so make sure you support us there. But definitely, you will not be whistling tomorrow night with Steven Silvestri. Wednesday, Bentley gets his shine into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, becoming the fourth member at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on all Sportswire Radio platforms. The Bolton Town Wrestling and the GTM World Heavyweight Champion. Then Thursday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Fletch, the XCW founder and owner, the man that is responsible for the backyard wrestling scene the way it is, the man that invented and revolutionized this sport. Also, he has done a great job with XCW Curly, just celebrating their 20th anniversary. He gets inducted to the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame as the fifth member, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So be there or be square. But right now, we are here. And his first words, since he won the WCE All-Out Championship of the World, the picture of perfection, Kodak Kid. Kodak Kid, I want to ask you this question because as the show ended and the season ended, we saw almost this symbolic moment. I shouldn't say it like this because of obviously how he died and who he killed, but it reminded me of WrestleMania 20 and Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, and we saw the champions there embrace, and there was certainly that moment that I don't think we've seen in WC history yet, where you and the resident rock star Sean Jovi hold up those championships and have that moment there. We saw the WC fans, we saw the universe We saw the roster embrace. We saw Adonis Felios, the Drip King. Even the man on Mashness, Tyler Ark. I'm sure Nicholas Crenson wasn't that happy about that. We even saw Drake Silverwolf coming in. I mean, we saw some of the locker room fan favorites with the mix of the beloved WCE universe just getting behind this moment. And you have to talk about that special moment. It was arguably maybe the most special moment in this company's history, seeing the two biggest champions between you and the resident rock star Sean Jovi embracing, and talk about that for those that are listening and watching.
Well, if you would have went back to last season and told me and Sean that we were going to be interstate openweight champion and the all out champion at the end of next season, I you just wouldn't. I wouldn't believe it.
Nobody would have
Because
believed that.
no,
Nobody. Not
definitely
after the
never.
year he finished the year. Remember, he ends the season with COVID last year.
Yeah,
You basically were never sure when you're coming
yeah,
back in the ring. I mean, you guys were at the lows of the lows. And here we are. I mean, Sean Jovi's a worldwide phenomenon now. You're the top guy in this sport. I mean, this is really a dream moment. It really is the picture of perfection. It's the most picturesque moment in WC history.
yeah. I wasn't expecting such a culmination of all of us just standing there but I mean it was a really special thing because like you knew everybody else knew what just happened is something it's not going to happen again.
No,
So
that's a
it was
moment. You got to
definitely
get that right. You got to get that right because you only get that once because of the symbolism of that. Your
yeah,
moment taking a title away from a man that nobody thought in this sport. I mean, people made jokes about it on Sportswire that
yeah,
Craven Rage was going to be champion for life. I mean, people just basically thought that he was always going to come out on top. I mean, it was to the point where it was like Roman Reigns. It was like people were bored of it. People wanted change. People wanted something new almost. And I think that's why
yeah.
people were skeptical that this was really going to happen.
It's still a surreal moment to me, like just to know that I was able to accomplish the thing that nobody else was able to accomplish, and it looked to be impossible. But I proved it wasn't impossible, and now I get to be champion. I get to go in the next season, be the man to beat, and I can't wait to see. There's so many guys that I'm ready to take on, so I can't wait to see what next season brings.
Absolutely, no question about it. And again, to quote Paula Abdul in her famous number one hit, we finally have a promise of a new day in WCE. We finally have that moment that a lot of people were waiting for. And certainly, Sean Jovi is one person that obviously we would love to see you square off with. But Darkfire also could certainly be looming as well because he's our RCW World Underground Champion, and he's definitely going to be a guy that you could very well have to contend with at any given moment. And you have to talk to us about Darkfire, another man who last year at this time, I mean, he was a joke. Nicholas Crenson was, obviously did a lot to him. We saw his problems with his personal life be put out on WCE TV, and Darkfire is another guy that finally, proved that he can hang, and he's right there with you as well.
So the thing with Darkfire is not many people are going to remember, but there was a WC exclusive last year where it was me versus Darkfire.
Yep.
He ended up stunnering me off the middle rope and then putting me in a sharpshooter, which I ended up tapping to. So, um, I definitely owe him one. I got to get Darkfire in the ring. Um, Another guy that I think in the last two shows, Fight or Fright, day one and then two, is Tyler Ark. He did. He just was way better the last two shows than he was all season or the season before. He
Yeah, we
just
spoke a lot about
something
him
sparked in him,
with Crenson. Yeah.
and he
Yeah,
just
we
did.
spoke.
He put a little blip on the radar, but James Marshall would be another guy I can't wait to be the champion and defend against. It's really cool to be able to defend against all these really good people. James beat me last year for the interstate title. He retained it, and then But to me, the number one match that I can't wait to have is me versus Sean, champion versus champion, and just to see who is the 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 champion's champion, who's number one.
Okay, I think you lost me there. I'm gonna try to come back in. Oh. Oh, there we go. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Unfortunately, technology is not working too well right now on my end, but we're going to fix that in a second. So, obviously, a lot to consider there. No question, Tyler Ark, I agree with you. Nicholas
Yeah,
Crenson absolutely spoke a lot about him. We look forward to seeing what happens with him, certainly next season. But, I was wondering about this here. Let me ask you this question. You tell me your thoughts on this. In the fact that, a lot of people talked about Craven Rage, and it was certainly Omen Black is the name that comes the most
yeah.
when it comes to people that spoke a lot about Craven Rage, the Backyard Nightmare. A lot of people were skeptical about him and they were saying different things. And, especially even when the IMF guys came into WC, we kind of saw the mind games being played. And maybe Craven Rage, not to say he was a paper tiger, but do you think that Craven Rage was also distracted by the fact that people really kind of discounted his run as the all-out champion, and especially people like Omen Black and Soldier GP, who really basically were for months after month here on Sportswire Radio, month after month, I might want to say we're basically kind of challenging Craven Rage, and he kind of backed away from him. I mean, what do you make of that situation as well?
I don't think Craven Rage put much thought into me at all. I do think that the Omen Black and the Soldier GP thing was his main focus because I was gone for so long, and then you got Yards Collide, and Owen Black just month in and month out every show he's calling out Craven. I think that definitely played to my advantage, facing Craven Rage because Omen Black did engulf himself with Craven Rage. So I think it definitely benefited me in the long run.
Do you think that Craven Rage let Omen Black get into his head, and that maybe in a way also certainly hobbled him a bit? Because there was no question. I mean, Omen even came on here a few weeks ago and talked about Craven Rage. I mean, almost every chance he got, Omen Black made it his mission, his effort, his best effort to talk about Craven Rage, and Craven Rage really kind of backed away from it. In fact, even a lot of people in WC, when Soldier and Omen would come on here, they seem to shy away from it, really. They seem to not want the competition. I mean, you're the champion now. You're obviously going to have a different perspective on things. I mean, what was your kind of opinions on all of that and how kind of Omen Black and Soldier kind of were running roughshod and guys like Craven Rage kind of cowered, as many people thought on this show?
Um, I think that um, Craven being quiet uh, didn't have anything to do with him being a coward. Craven Rage has stepped up to each individual over the last couple of years, over the 547 days, and he did do whatever desperation act that he needed to. But I think also that Craven Rage was focused on Omen Black, but I don't think Omen Black was in Craven's head at all. I've tried to get into Craven's head. It doesn't work that way. I The only way I was able to accomplish getting into Craven Rage's head is by beating him. That was it. That was the only. Now, if I was to step into the ring with him again, he knows what's standing across from him.
Let me.
I don't think Omen Black did enough to really. I think Craven Rage just didn't see any point to vocalize himself. to
So
Omen
you're
or about
saying that
Omen.
Omen Black didn't do enough, or Craven Rage didn't want Omen Black? I mean, what are you saying exactly? Just if you want to elaborate for the audience, how do
Okay,
you feel?
so I don't think in Craven's mind that Omen Black was a big enough blip on the map to even. So that's kind of why he backed away from it. He didn't really see it as anything serious. But that's
Hmm.
kind of how he saw every individual, including me. So
Oh, I see what you're saying. So
that's just
I
kind of
see
what
what you're
I
saying.
expect from him. I'm
I
sorry I
see what
over
you're saying.
explained it, but yeah,
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying now. Craven didn't take anybody seriously because he was
yeah,
on top. I understand that. Real
yeah.
quick on that, and obviously I'm gonna have a surprise for you here in a few minutes, but I'm gonna certainly
Oh,
save that for you. But also going back to Darkfire, Craven Rage and Darkfire had the match that put the company on the map. You might want to say
yeah,
that was the match that put people that never heard of WC a chance to kind of find out what this company has to offer. Do you
yeah.
feel like in a lot of ways that when it comes to a Darkfire, that maybe you and Darkfire running that back this time on a bigger scale with him as a champion, you as a champion, that could certainly also bring WC to an even larger universe than it's already. I think a lot of people, based on that match with Craven, you and Darkfire, RCW champ versus the All Out champ could be a dream match in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I definitely won't shy away from it, and if Darkfire and WC management wouldn't mind, I would love to put it on a bigger scale, put it in the main event, and see if because like I said, I owe him one already. He made me tap one time, and he stunned me pretty good. So with Darkfire being champion now, it's just I have a lot of respect for the guy and what he does. So if people want that dream match, then we'll give them that dream match. Am I? Are we going to be able to reach a wider outreach? Then I'd hope so. But even if not, I know for the people that are involved now and that watch now, they're gonna love what we put on, and hopefully we give them something special.
No question about that. If you want to follow WC, you can do that a number of different ways. And most importantly, you can watch great matches with the likes of Craven Rage versus Starkfire, Craven Rage versus Kodak Kid, Sean Jovi versus James Marshall. You can also watch Nicholas Crenson in many of his wars, a slew of WC stars. You can do that at WC Heat on YouTube, Facebook at WC Heat, also WCHeat.com. Also, WC has almost 600 subscribers now on YouTube, so join the movement. Also, support Sean Jovi's page. Sean Jovi's got over 650 subscribers now on YouTube, and definitely make sure you support the mission. I want to say hello to a few other people here before I ask you a couple of more questions.
Yeah, let's do
Also,
it.
here, want to say hello to my buddy Ron out there. Ron, how you doing? Sorry about your Green Bay Packers. For a lot of Packer fans here in Wisconsin, sorry as well
Yeah.
about yesterday. And I picked the Packers to win yesterday, so good luck to all of us. You know what is up, my man? 4 up, 4 down. He's talking about the Winter Clash and IMF and all that stuff. Also, our buddy Nicholas Crenton. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Talking about the RCW title and Darkfire facing Kodak. Aren't you forgetting them? Because Nicholas Crenton is supposed to be the guy that next gets that shot at Darkfire's RCW championship. So maybe when you face Darkfire, Nicholas Crenson will be the RCW champion, and maybe you'll face Nicholas Crenson in an all-out champion versus RCW champion match. You never know, because Nicholas Crenson has been waiting for that shot for 2 consecutive live premium WCE shows. I mean, he was supposed to get the shot, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, so I think Darkfire and Nicholas Crenson should worry about themselves and not so much on me then.
Absolutely. And I want to say hello to my buddy Drake Silverwolf out there, the big bad Silverwolf. He has his Wolfpack Hours show, and he has a number of different things. And Nicholas Crenson also wants to ask, how is the wrist feeling?
Oh, the wrist. Oh, the
Yeah,
wrist is
you had the
doing.
wrist injury when you came back. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's doing pretty all right. It does what it needs to. The strength is back. I got a full range of motion and everything went perfect with it.
How
I
much of that was an issue in the match with Craven?
no, none at all.
No.
If you watch back, I have a brace on under my flannel. If you can't really
I
tell, but
yeah,
yeah, I ended up I broke it at Yards Collide. and then I had a surgery, and then
And the triple threat match, that's when you broke it.
yeah, I did a moonsault to the outside of the ring, and I
Charlotte Flair
miscalculated.
didn't pay attention because she did the same move and was out 9 months, so you were the lucky one.
Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah. Yeah, it was literally like it was like a month, but I wasn't supposed to miss any time. I missed time because I got suspended for Craven Rage. Uh, I don't know if you saw that, but that was another one of his tactics. He
Yep.
tried to get me suspended by because I attacked him, but
Because you
we
guys weren't
found out
supposed to touch
later,
each other.
yeah.
Yep. Correct.
And he heard that conversation and tried to play a fast one on everybody, but because of technology nowadays and cameras everywhere, especially in the WC ground, he didn't get away with it.
Yeah, you know what? It's a different world out there, even in the WC universe. And Drake Silverwolf wants to say he kicked Craven. That's right. Let me ask you this question. I've been asking wrestlers and other people that come on the show this question. Obviously, we're going into 2024. As obviously 2023 is coming to a close, and our season 3 has come to a close in WC. But what are your goals for 2024?
2024, just the last couple matches I had in the season, there was a lot of ring rust. I was in the best shape. I was still able to walk out champion, which was just a miracle in that sense. But I need to get back to my roots, get down to it, get in better shape, and get ready for this season because everybody's gonna want a chance to get in the ring with me, and I need to be ready for that. And I don't feel that I put on a good enough performance at the end of last season to I won't last very long if I keep doing the way I've been doing it
Well, you got listen right now. You got
outside of the ring.
listen. You got Jovi. You got Marshall. You got Crenson.
Yeah,
You got Dogfire. You got Tyler Ark. You mentioned. You got
yeah,
Adonis Felagos. You got Drake Silverwolf.
yeah.
And Craven Rage, is going to be lurking out there. And, I wanted to ask you one more question before I do something that I'm going to surprise you on. I got something up my sleeve. But,
Okay.
what was your impressions on this IMF Winter Class show? There was a lot of WC talent that was there, and you are the top guy. You are the representative of
Yeah.
WC. And I was kind of wondering, what was your impressions on this past weekend show, which, by the way, was a massive success all up and down the board. Over 200 people showed up to the show, and you
Yes,
had
sir.
people wrestle from different places like XCW, ROEW, certainly a contingent of WC stars, and obviously that exclusive WC match between Jovi and Craven Rage. But what was your impressions on the IMF Winter Class show?
Um, I just wanted to say congratulations to them I know when they were here for Yards Collide, a lot of the guys, just a great group of guys. The management and IMF did come to me asking if I was wanting to perform, but we just kind of lost touch after that. But I have been in touch with them after that, and if they continue to do the live shows, which I'm pretty sure they're planning on doing, I'd be more than happy to step in and put the title on the line, see what I can do, and have a good time. But
Oh,
congratulations to them.
I have no doubt that the IMF is going to be doing more shows after the success that they had
Yeah,
and the
with the
amount of
way it
success.
went, then yeah, you would assume. So like
Yeah,
I'm open until next season. I think WC starts in like March or April. So
yeah. I
like
think
I'm
last
pretty
year we
free
started
until then.
April. Yeah, we started April last year, and I can certainly hope that we start a little earlier. Obviously, we'll see what the weather brings, and I know we'll be talking a lot about it here on Sportswire Radio in the coming weeks and months, and certainly it'll be right around the corner. So season 4 is going to be like snap, crackle, and pop. But
Yeah,
Kodak Kid, you are the picture of perfection. You are
yeah.
obviously certainly our brand new WC All Out champion. But apparently somebody out there who you said a lot about tonight has a few
Oof.
words to say about you. And I was wondering, obviously, as we're getting ready to close the show, if you wanted me to bring on somebody that wants to say something to you that you've recently seen and you've definitely, let me just say, maybe had a few nightmares about.
I let's do it, man.
You sure? You sure you want me to do
I'm
this? We're in the holiday
100%.
season. Hanukkah just
100%.
passed,
Let's do it,
Christmas. So
man.
you sure you want me to do this? You want me to
I
bring this
would
person
love
on?
this.
All right.
Yes.
Well, if you want me to, I'm going to do it because he is back once again live on Sportswire Radio to give his words to you since you took what was most valuable to him and the most valuable prize in this sport. The Backyard Nightmare, the ruler of the WC Yard, is back once again. Craven Rage, the floor is yours. You now get to act and put your rage towards the picture of perfection, Kodak Kid, the man that took your championship.
Kodak Kid.
Hi, Craven. How are you?
Well, I see that you got something on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Oh, it's warm. It's cozy. Fits right where I need it to.
Well, thing is, Kodak, you won that little battle between me and you. But, however, you didn't win the war. You see, I'm always one step ahead of everybody in the game.
Okay. All right. Well, how about this? We've done this before. We've gone back and forth talking about I'm going to beat you up. You're going to beat me up. I won the battle. You won the war. You want to win the war. It's up to you. Let's cut the stuff and tell me what you need. What would you like from me?
What I would like from you is simple. You keep that title. Nice
I
and
will.
warm.
Oh, I will.
Because anywhere, anytime, management. You see, that's what you do when you are a champ like me.
A champ like you used to be.
Yes, because you see, a lot of people make deal with the devil.
Well,
And
Craven,
that's the thing. A lot of people made the biggest mistake shaking the hand that fed them, which was the devil. Mark Packer did. Because, like Tom said, you passed out when I tapped out. So Mark Packer is to blame for not stopping the match. Because if he stopped the match, I would still be champion. But he was still stuck high on cheese curds, which I fed his fat ass with. So I can get a shot at any title I want. Anytime, anywhere.
Well, if it was up to me, I'd say you get to the back of the line behind Tyler Ork because he deserves a chance at the title.
Well, wait
You
a
get
minute.
behind the line. Hold on, Tom.
All right.
Get behind the line. Get behind Sean Jovi, who is a champion. He should step up. You get behind the line, James Marshall, Darkfire. You get in the back of the line because they deserve a chance. You tapped twice to me. You're just mad that the second time they actually saw it.
You know, it doesn't matter who champion. It could be you, Sean Jovi, Darkfire. I'm coming after all of y'all.
Let me ask though a quick question. Now, Craven Rage. Now, you said you mentioned management, correct? You mentioned Mark Packer and the cheese curds. Is that correct? My question to you, sir, is if you've spoken to management, do you have a rematch clause?
Oh yes, definitely. Anytime.
You have a rematch clause.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
So that's up to Packer then. So you're saying it's in Packer's court right now to make the decision if you want to reinvoke your rematch clause and to get your shot back at your title. That's going to be up to Packer, you're saying.
Well, that's the thing. He sold his soul to the devil when he took the cheese curds. You know,
okay.
when people shake their hand to the devil, which they have, they have to pay the pipe. They have to pay the piper.
Well, guess what, Craven? I am the devil. I am the piper. You want a rematch clause? You can invoke it anytime you want, and don't even leave it up to Mark. It can be up to you. I'll tell you what. I'm at 332 12th Avenue in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You come right here. We'll end it in my backyard. Your nightmare, the backyard nightmare. Come to my backyard.
Are you telling us here that at your house you're willing to hold this title
out front, in the backyard, his yard, your yard? Tom will come out to New York. I don't care.
I'll tell you what. I mean, if there's somebody out there and you want to hold this match anywhere, I mean, it's up to WC. I mean,
anywhere.
Why not? Let's do it. Let's give the people what they want. If we want to have this rematch right away, I mean, listen, let's do it tomorrow. We'll air it live on Sportswire. Forget about Sean Silvestri coming on. If you guys want to have this match tomorrow, I mean, if Packer's up for it, management's up for it, we'll actually broadcast this match live. I mean, put that ring up there somewhere. If it's in Kodak's house, if it's in anybody else's house, and you want to put that ring together, and we'll call the match here live on Sportswire. Let's do it.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. Craven, falls in your court, man. Let's see what you got.
Well, you don't want to see. That's the thing. It's going to happen. And when it does happen, trust me, Tom, the outcome is going to be just the same. I'm going to make this bitch-ass boy fall down to me again.
Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? It looks like Craven Rage has returned. The Backyard Nightmare, the ruler of the yard, fresh off his match at the IMF Winter Clash where he squared off against Sean Jovi, the resident rock star. He has returned basically where he wants to invoke his rematch clause against Kodak Kid, the picture of perfection. Will we get this match anywhere, anytime? We saw the last match. It was an unsanctioned Appleton street fight. I mean, the people of Appleton, it could be anywhere. It could be in Kodak Kid's house. We heard 332 12th Avenue, Wisconsin. Go over there, knock on that door now. So if somebody wants to put a ring up, somebody wants to get a referee, somebody wants to basically be able to record this match, we'll even volunteer to do it here. We'll have this match for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio. We'll have our first ever live match in show history. So if people want it, let's give the people what they want. But until then, obviously, you've heard it here live. Kodak Kid, Craven Rage, could we be seeing the trilogy of this match? I mean, listen, some people thought Rocky 3 was better than Rocky 2. Other people didn't. I mean, Terminator 3 wasn't as good as Terminator 2. But I promise you that this match is going to be just like John Wick 3, even better than John Wick 2. And it's going to be, listen, a match that a lot of people would want to see, especially for gold. So very well, that could be our New Year's resolution. If we don't get this before the end of 2023, our New Year's resolution here on Sportswire Radio is the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the #1 global radio station, your voice of all wrestling, the Reverend Tom Bryce, WC All-Out Championship, the most valued possession in this sport. Kodak Kid, the current champion against the former champion, Craven Rage, in a dream match once again. Could we see the trilogy? It's 1-1. I don't know. Champ, do you want to say anything else to Craven Rage? And Craven Rage, do you want to say anything else to Kodak Kid before I let Craven Rage you sign up? Because I could clearly see you got those after effects there from what has been going on with you these past few days.
I've said all I needed to say. Craven, we know your mouth's running. What do you got?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's easy to be a champ, but it's what you're going to do with that title. You see what I did with it? I elevated it. I made that title the prized possession of WCE.
And in this sport, I would even say, I mean, people,
because you got to think, Kodak Kid. Everybody say James Marshall's the measuring stick. When he was the champion, what happened? He went up against me. Then he went up against me before he went against you. And what happened? Beat his ass so bad, sent his ass to Walmart.
You ran JDT out of town. I mean, JDT's on a milk carton somewhere. Couldn't even hang with the big boys in this company. He couldn't hang with them.
You know, yeah, you got all these people like Nicholas Crimson. You know,
Drake
you have
Silverwolf, Prince Charles, who looked up to you, and Dash
you got Prince
Andrews, who had a
Charles. You got
talent.
all
I
these
mean,
people that
you know,
want to
the
shot
whole
at you
Ray
because you the
Oos
man
won.
now.
Ray Oos wanted even a shot. I mean, listen, there's so many people here that really wanted a shot at this championship. You desecrated all of them, Craven Rage. But obviously, we'll have to see the big burning question. I think if we don't have this match anytime, anywhere, for going into next season, when will we see the trilogy, the rubber match between Kodak Kid and Craven Rage? This time with Kodak Kid as the incumbent champion and Craven Rage is the challenger. We'll now get to see coming up in season 4. How does Craven Rage bounce back after now dealing with what he lost? The championship that he held on for dear life for, the championship that he elevated, as he says, the championship that he made the most valued possession in this sport. How does he deal with that adversity now? How does
It's
Craven Rage
easy,
figure out
Carl.
how to get back on top? Yeah, how is it easy? You tell us.
Smash them, stack them, and pin them.
Well, we're going to find out. I'll tell you that much. We are going to certainly find out. You want to follow WCE, you can do that on YouTube at WCE.
If I could tell Kodak Kid, I could look in your eyes and I could see the fear. I could smell the fear on you. I could smell the fear. Probably going to church of cock.
Oh yeah, I'm afraid.
Just to pray.
Super afraid.
Ooh.
To having to make you tap again.
Yeah, but who passed out like a little bitch? You did.
I still won.
Yeah, I give you that. You did win.
You go back into the rule book all you want.
You did win. I give you that. I give you that. You did win. You stopped the run. You stopped the streak. You ended the streak. You did what nobody else could never do.
It was a WrestleMania 29 like moment there, where everybody was waiting for Craven Rage to find a way to get to those ropes, whether it was a foot on the rope, a hand on the rope, and it was almost like maybe it was anticlimactic, maybe it was just symbolic of this run, but it certainly happened, and it finally, after 547 days, the Backyard Nightmares' grip on the WC All Out Championship ended. Kodak Kid's the one with this championship, and I think that's going to be really the big burning question in WCE is how does Craven Rage deal with this adversity? How does Craven Rage figure a way to get back on top? Craven Rage, you have dealt with Omen Black the entire year, basically dogging you. You obviously have dealt with people left and right on this show, people in this company, outside of this company, that have questioned you. You are now going to have to show to bounce back in season 4. How are you going to tell the naysayers that you're going to prove them wrong and come back on top? But Kodak Kid right now is the guy that has this belt. Kodak Kid is the one that took you to the limit. He's the one that made you tap, despite whatever way it happened on the circumstances. He's got the belt. He's the incumbent. And you're right. We're going to see how he is able to draw himself as champion differently than you did. You're right. How is he going to elevate the WCE title? How is he going to put the WCE in places that you didn't get a chance to do, or also continue to do the things that you did, elevating WC stars to be able to wrestle in their first ever live indoor shows where people paid to see, where people from WC went to different states and wrestled for championships. Those were abilities because of your run as champion. Kodak Kid now is going to get his say. Kodak Kid is now going to put his footmark, his print on the WC championship, and we'll see if he can take the WC title to even bigger and better places, and we'll see if he takes on the challenges. We'll see if an Omen Black or for Soldier GP or if Freddie Myers or anybody else that's out there that want Jason Myers, Freddie Daniels, whoever else it might be, Jordan Nets, anybody else that's out there, Jason Storm, Jack Delta even. I mean, Jackson Law, whoever else it might be. Maybe Kodak Kid wants to take on those people. You never know.
Oh, yeah, I'm not afraid to take on no man. But
the sirens are going off because apparently the police even know that this could be such a deadly match, such a dangerous match, that even the police know if we have an anywhere unsanctioned trilogy match between Kodak Kid and Craven Rage, that you are going to need medical attention on site. You are going to need security, law enforcement to be there, because what these two men could do to each other could very well even be a death-like thing. These two men, the loser may literally, figuratively and literally, never be able to walk out on their own again. You forget about deathmatch wrestlers like Jimmy Controversy coming on the Sportswire, Hardcore Obey. You just wait. If Craven Rage and Kodak Kid tangle in a ring, these men will never be the same again. And one of them, or maybe even both of them, will never be able to walk on their own accordance again. That's how big of a match this is going to be. And I want to say hello to somebody else that could also be a champion before we say goodnight. That is the number one contender to the DBW World Heavyweight Championship, the big man of DBW. It's Big Tex country when he comes in here. Big Tex, he wants to say it's going to be a hell of a match between the two of you guys, and he's got big respect for you. And this could be a future champion, a champion in a company in Dominant Breakout Wrestling with over 3,500 subscribers on YouTube. Their last show nearly 1,000 views, and this could be the man. And think about what could happen. Maybe Big Tex one day, if he's the DBW champion, after Merry Mayhem this Saturday. And we could see maybe him against Kodak Kid, champion versus champion, or Craven Rage. I mean, certainly Craven Rage could forget about his sights. If he defeats Kodak Kid once again, he can forget about everything else, and maybe a dream match between he and Big Tex. I mean, if Big Tex does what he does to Mr. Judgment, it'll be bigger than what Goldberg did to Hollywood Hulk Hogan in the Georgia Dome. This young man's been in the ring for less than 10 matches. He has the opportunity to be a world champion, and if you put him as the DBW champion against the WCE champion Kodak Kid, or the former WCE All-Out champion Craven Rage, the stars could very well align, and we could certainly see dreams come to reality. And that's why I want everybody to follow WCE, YouTube, Facebook, WCEheat.com, at WCE, because I promise you, this is where the big boys play. WCE, Wisconsin, Wisconsin's top company, one of the top companies around in this sport. WCE Heat at YouTube, at Facebook. You can watch for yourself. Relive that match at Fight or Fright Chapter 3 between Kodak Kid and Craven Rage in that unsanctioned Appleton Street fight. You can relive what so many people in this sport are talking about, what everybody is chattering about. The match that everybody said they couldn't top it the first time, well, they did it the second time, and you just wait till these guys, if management and Mark Packer allows it.
3 stages of hell, Kodak.
Oh! 3 stages of hell. Listen, I saw Omen Black do 3 stages of hell in his hardcore title match. Oh, baby, you just wait. You just wait. 3 stages of hell. I'll tell you what.
You're on, man.
Oh,
Let's
Mark Packer and management, make that right call. Make that right call. WCE, you make that right call. Because I'm telling you, you could certainly see. I'm even getting messages from people from different companies and WFEW and RCW and all other places. They are watching. They are watching what's going on here. And they want to see the dream match happen one more time. And I want to say hello before we go to our guests coming on Christmas Eve. Now, if you were bored on Christmas Eve and for whatever reason we don't get Craven Rage and Kodak Kid, that unsanctioned match, for that rematch of the WC All-Out Championship, to be inducted into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame on Christmas Eve, the owner and founder of Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, Joshua Allen, the Painmaker, he is going to talk about the season finale before the end of the Gold Rush tournament. He's going to talk about episode 156. He's going to talk about getting us ready to season 7 and some. He's going to be here live with us on Christmas Eve. And you know what? If you're not doing anything Christmas Day, the floor is going to be open on Sportswire. So if you're out there, you want to talk, you got something to say, I will leave the line of communication open. I will go on the air worldwide live on Sportswire Radio. So if you're out there, you want to talk, I will actually go live on Sportswire Radio for you. So again, December 24th, Joshua Allen is going to be here, owner and founder of TBW, to be inducted also into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He is going to be inducted as the 6th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. So congratulations to the Painmaker. Obviously, we look forward to seeing him very, very soon with us. And anything else you want to say, gentlemen, before we sign off tonight?
No, sir. I'm tapped out.
Well, you're tapped out, Craven Rage. You definitely, I know, have a lot to say on your mind. I think the talking is over. The talking is over between Craven Rage and Kodak Kid. Christmas is going to be an interesting one. New Year's, even more interesting, because my New Year's resolution and my Christmas gift, I want to see Kodak Kid, Craven Rage run it back one more time. It'll be better than Rocky 3. It'll be better than Terminator 3. It'll be better than John Wick 3. It'll be better than Equalizer 3. You name a sequel, it'll top all of it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, the host of the Sports Report, the #1 global radio station of Sportswire Radio, and your voice of all wrestling. Fellas, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year if we don't get a chance to see this match and you guys back in the ring. And I can't wait to talk with you guys real soon. Kodak Kid, congratulations. Craven Rage, congratulations for being a part of the historic IMF Winter Clash, where over 200 people witnessed firsthand one of the greatest live indoor debut shows in history. We will see how they top it. We will see how you gentlemen top the trilogy and the rubber match. Thank you, gentlemen.
Take it easy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Kodak Kid and Craven Rage. And also, we'll be back here on Sportswire Radio tomorrow night with Sean Silvestri, referee of Resurrection Pro Wrestling. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the #1 global radio